Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Rob here today. I have some really exciting and fun stuff to talk to you about. I cannot wait to share with you the Tail 2 OSBOT's brand new pan, tilt, zoom, and rotate PTZR camera. Wow, this is awesome. 5x optical zoom with a myriad of ports right here just for you. Put all kinds of stuff in there. We're gonna get into it in just a minute. But before we get into the specs, like, subscribe, comment down below, ask your questions, I will answer them, and let's just show you some footage. Let's roll it. Okay, so you saw that footage. What I want to point out before we go any further, before we talk about any specs, are when you were watching that, do you see where the cameras were? Other than the Panasonic AGCX350, which was on a Xenon Crane 3S, everything was in the ceiling, right? So these cameras, the Tail Airs as well as the Tail 2, are small enough and light enough to be put in the rafters of open joists with a clamp, a C-clamp, ratcheting C-clamp, and secured with, of course, a guide wire to make sure that they don't fall. You know, bands get loud, vibrations happen from the base. But think about that in your production workflow. If Tail Air and Tail 2 were only good at putting in the rafters, then you've already got something that no other camera can do. Because I can't put the Panasonic AGCX350 up there. You're not putting your cinema rig up there. It's just not happening. And it does it because all of OSBOT's products have an internal battery. Yes, you can power them while using them, but they have an internal battery. This has over 5 hours of battery, the Tail 2, and the Tail Airs get easily 2 hours to 2.5 hours of live use while recording in 4K up to 60 frames a second. Absolutely awesome.
Scooter or Later proudly presents Now That's What I Call Yacht Rock, featuring the very best in FM Gold.
She's probably someone that's only right. Gonna shine tonight. Yeah, she's
all of your favorite artists, including Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins, and Christopher Cross. Coming soon to a venue near you. Order now. Schooner Later is not responsible for your ownership of the yacht. Product may result in smooth grooves, high vibe, and sun use sunglasses at night. Captain's hat optional. Yacht Rock mindset is mandatory.
I want to move into something else just a little bit. Before we go any further, OSBOT has built a system of devices to help you with your live production journey. The hub of that system is OSBOT Talent. Talent is a live stream encoder. Now, you can do so much more than just live stream with it. In fact, you can program and record all of your inputs internally. You don't have to send it out to live stream, but if you wanted to, there's a live stream encoder built into it. But what its main function, what it does so well, is wirelessly networking with NDI on all their cameras. So we've got up to 3 NDI wireless cameras that we can link to it, plus 2 HDMI inputs, as well as a full audio suite with their audio in, which can be either line or mic, but it is an 1/8" mini jack. Stereo, of course. And then in the back, we've also got hot swappable batteries. So we can take the battery out while we're using it, and it's in this small form factor. This being the hub device makes it easy and efficient to use and create all kinds of different events, media, live streams, you name it, you got it. Toyota. Do you guys remember that commercial? But there's more to it than that. If we want to look at this system, you don't need talent. OSBOT has given us OSBOT Live and OSBOT Start apps. What makes, in my opinion, OSBOT such an innovative company is that they took professional hardware and found a way to seamlessly integrate it into your tablet or your phone form factor through an app. And you don't lose any professional capabilities. Right now, you're seeing 3 different camera inputs wirelessly being sent here, which means that you can control and command all 3 of your tail air or talent devices, or tail air or tail 2 devices straight from the iPad or your iPhone or your Galaxy Fold or your Galaxy phone. That makes it simple and easy to switch. More on that later. What I want to talk about now is just how exciting the Tail 2 is for me. It's exciting because it is a pan, tilt, zoom, and rotate camera. What that means is that Tail 2 will always auto level itself. Because it will auto level itself, no matter where you put it, no matter what ground that it's on, it will be able to pan, tilt, and zoom, but it will do it with a level horizon. That's something that you can't do with most pan, tilt, zoom cameras, and even the Tail Airs don't have the rotate function. This right here makes it instrumental for using on location anywhere else. So as far as a standout feature, that rotate feature is absolutely amazing. Always level horizons. Another thing that I like about it is the 5x optical zoom. When you look at this guy right here, you'll notice we've got this big lens. The lens is huge for a reason. It's got a large sensor as well as a 5x optical zoom. Now you can do all the digital zoom that you want, but that 5x optical zoom, if you think about it, that's like a 24 to 120 in its zoom length. That's 5 times right there, which is really, really nice. So when you think about the application that this lens has on the Tail 2, think about it as a 24 to 120 zoom lens. Usually in a full frame camera, 24 to 120 in f4. Here we've got excellent low light capability. The lens does ramp the aperture as it zooms, but it's only very little. And because of OSBOT's amazing noise reduction technology, I've never had a problem with noise, even using the smaller sensor Tail Airs. I want to talk about some other things that I really enjoy about just user feel, just ease of use, and that is the full-size HDMI port. Okay, so that full-size HDMI port right there means that I can simply plug this into all the cables I have existing, and I don't need any additional adapters. This is brilliant. We've also got an SDI connection. We've got a microphone in, whether it's line or mic level, and we've got 2 different ways to power it, USB-C as well as the USB interchange. So we can use this additional USB-C for power or for sending out Ethernet, PoE with one of their adapters. But we were talking about a system, right? When we consider this a system, we have to figure out how seamlessly Tail Air works. Tail Air is so small. Look at this. It's tiny. But right here with Tail Air, we have the same type of functionality, albeit with a micro HDMI port. We've got an SD card built into all of these, which means that they can record internally while streaming, while sending that video out over Wi-Fi or HDMI, however you like. And more importantly, we've got built-in microphones here. The Tail 2 works best with an external microphone that you plug into it. So one of the things I'll talk about later are some of the things I use to make this whole system work well for me. But we're not done there. There's something else that makes this a system, and I got to grab it now. Okay, I'm back. I had to get it. It fell. This is the remote. And what I want you to see is that right now, do you notice the Tail 2, right? Well, check it out. It's moving around, okay? It's moving around because that's exactly what it does. You can pan, tilt, and zoom all with this remote. Now, with this remote, you can control 3 different cameras. You can set them up right here. And through controlling them, you can set for each of your cameras to have 3 different positions that are already set in stone. So when you want it to go to position 1, 2, or 3, you just push 1, 2, or 3. This is brilliant. And it's brilliant because of one simple reason. This remote control with a mind for cinematography, with a workflow, a standard operating procedure, allows you to set up your cameras and record or live stream without the need of the app for monitoring. How does that work? Lots of times people ask me this in a question. It works simply because when you set up these shots, the cameras are static. They're not moving in position. They may be tilting, panning, or zooming, but they're not moving from where they are. So when I record bands or when I record weddings or when I record anything like that, I'm constantly thinking of shot 1, shot 2, and shot 3. Shot 1 for any of the cameras is always the hero shot. And people often ask, what's the hero shot? Well, that's the main shot. Shot 2 is always a detail shot. What's a detail shot? That's a zoomed idea or a zoomed image of a particular shot. So if we had the main shot being the bride and the groom together, right? The detail shot might be where their hand would be when they're putting the ring on. And then shot 3 would be the wide shot, which would be the zoomed out shot wide for the entire area. If you do that for each of your cameras, and let's say you're recording a band and you've got a camera in the front of the stage looking at the band, and you've got a camera to the left and a camera to the right, then your shot 1 for each of those cameras are different, but they're showing the same thing. Shot 1 will be the singer in the center. And for each of your left and right cameras, shot 1 would be whoever is there. Could be your bass guitar, could be your rhythm guitar, or your lead guitar, or it could be your drummer. So in that instance, I know when I press 1 on any of the cameras, it's going to the person, the hero shot that camera's on. So it's a nice hero shot. Shot 2, detail, a little bit of zoom, a little press in, so you have a different look. What is that? Well, if it's your singer, it might be a close-up of the face where the microphone usually is, right? If it's your drummer, it might be a close-up on the cymbals where they're doing some clash. And if you're a guitarist, it might be a close-up on their hands. That's the detail shot. Now, what's the wide shot? Real simple. The wide shot is the zoomed out shot. So that shot number 1 that was on the singer and then zoomed into the singer's face, that shot number 3 would be the wide shot of the band. Shot number 3 for the guitarist or the camera left might be the wide shot from that perspective. And shot number 3 for the camera right would be the wide shot from the other perspective. It's also fun sometimes to use a crowd shot in those instances. This works the same for weddings. The wide shot would be the entire wedding party. No matter where you have the cameras, camera left, camera right, camera center, it's the wide shot. The detail shot would be the one closest to them. So it might be on the flower girls on the bride side, or the groomsman on the groom side. And then the hero shot would be whomever or whatever is there with the camera to be on. You can do all of that without having to visually monitor anything because of these 3 position buttons. So if you've been keeping up with the math, although we've got 3 cameras, we have 9 different angles that we're looking at, 9 different shot types. This is plenty of variety. Get your shot, your cinematographic type of experience, your vision, your idea, your movie, whatever you're doing, it's enough to get it out. If you're doing corporate live stream seminars, if you're working with sporting events like wrestling, we got a big, strong wrestling culture, amateur wrestling culture here in Hampton Roads, these cameras do it all. And they do it wirelessly, with the beautiful part being that they record internally. Now, we've been talking all about that. I think it's important for us to step back for just a moment and look at some more footage. So I want to look at footage specifically of Tail 2 right now. And that's going to be that band footage. Got another one coming up right now, so check it out. Okay, so we're back. So the band that you saw right there, great band called Later That Night. We were out at the Cove in Newport News, Virginia. And that was one of the very first videos I did where I was testing the OSBOT Tail 2. What I loved about it is in a crowded restaurant with chairs and seats everywhere, I was able to simply put the talent on a small tripod in the back and zoom over top of everybody's head. I could stay completely out of the way and get the type of shot that I needed, and it looked great. Some things that I absolutely enjoy about it are the zoom to noise ratio. There's very little to, if any, noise. The low light capability looks great. I just think it's awesome. I want to switch gears a little bit too. This isn't something that OSBOT is doing specifically for Tail 2. OSBOT has put this technology in all of their products. So I want you to also look at how it compares to the little OSBOT Tail Air. You're getting excellent video quality. So let's roll this clip now.
Well, speaking of non-sad bass, we're gonna bring Madison up here to sing a couple. Madison, come on up. Oh, there you are.
Surprise!
Ta-da, everyone. This is Madison, y'all.
Hi, guys. Shirt, so.
So welcome back. And as you look at these, you might ask yourself, why would you get one over the other? Well, I think that it's a use case question. And this is where OSBOT, the team, has really put the customer first. You don't sacrifice image quality because you're buying one device over the other. Of course, a larger sensor will always work less hard. It will have better low light noise performance. But because the software and the algorithms and all of these have been fine-tuned for each piece of hardware, you're not necessarily getting a better experience by buying a more expensive piece of gear, which means for around $500, $600, you can have the OSBOT Tail Air, a couple of those, or for about twice the price, you can have the OSBOT Tail 2. What you get is capability. What you're purchasing with the Tail 2 is the zoom and the professional features in the back that allow you ease of life, ease of use upgrades, such as that full-size HDMI, such as the built-in 5-hour battery. It's giving you additional capabilities like that, and that PTZR, that rotate function, meaning that your shots are already lined up level with the horizon. So between them, when you think about the system, you're actually looking at a system that can be customized however you wish. I want to show you some more video at a wedding using Tail 2. Check this out. So the footage that you saw at the wedding with Tail 2 was done in North Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful wedding venue there, the Lewis Atkinson House. And I was able to put Tail 2 2 stories up on the roof because it had a walk-around porch and I could just put it up there, which means that then it zoom, pan, tilt anywhere it needed to be. And because it was on a roof, the roof was slightly slanted. Of course, it was secured properly so it wouldn't fall. But because it was slightly slanted, Tail 2 was able to correct for the horizon. And yes, we're looking down, but think about that as an additional angle. Not only did the video look amazing, it's beautiful quality. Not only was the recording, although you probably didn't hear it, but the audio that was captured from it was very good audio, especially from being far away. It was excellent audio to properly sync with a synchronized function in Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, whatever you use. And then the footage can be turned into a multi-camera sequence. It's just very, very simple, easy to use because OSBOT has thought of all of these quality of life features. Now, some of you are going to ask the question, hey, Rob, how do you change settings? Okay, so now that we're here, we can actually see what the camera is doing. So from here, I can actually choose to change the different camera angles. These are angles that are already programmed into it, right? Some of them are zoomed angles. They are not programmed, obviously, for here. They're from the last use. Programming them is simple. But let's just go back out to something like that. We'll just point it straight up just so that you can see. If I needed to do something like change the exposure, I've got all of my exposure capability to change it right here. So I'm in aperture priority automatic. I can choose my exposure value, and make it darker or make it brighter, however I wish. As you can see, that's happening right there. I can also tap to focus. I can tap to move the camera around. I can zoom in and out. When I click this X button right here, I can come over here to an on-screen remote control where I can also pan, tilt, and zoom. And so right now we're at one-time zoom, but we can also zoom in, as you can see right there. So recognizing that this is where you would set all your settings. Now, I'm going to give you my favorite settings since we're right here. I like to come into my settings over here, and this is where you get all your awesome settings for setup. So when I set this sucker up, I go ahead and I set up my audio, is in this case to be an external microphone. I also set up my recording to be H.265. I set up my record frame rate to be either 30 or 60, just depending on what I want to do. And I set it to high bit rate, which is around 150 megabits per second, which is really, really nice. From there as well, I can turn on or off the gestures. Now, gestures allow you to control the camera without a remote control. They are things like pan and zoom. This is a zoom. This is a follow function, things like that. The problem with doing that at a live band or a live concert or even a wedding is that people are constantly making these types of gestures, which means that your camera will go wherever they go. So I turn all of those features off. But very simply, that's my setup. I go in, I set my exposure to be just a little bit darker for bands than I would normally expect because of the bright lights. And I do it here on the app. After I've got it set on the app for each one of the cameras, and it saves, it's persistent. So when you do it once, you don't have to do it again, other than the exposure value. You might change that a little bit. Then I just go into the OSBOT Live app, the one you saw, to watch and monitor the 3 cameras. I don't even need to bring talent if I don't want to. How cool is that? So we've talked about OSBOT Tail 2. We've talked about OSBOT Tail Air. We've talked about talent, and we've talked about the remote. I can't give this a higher recommendation. It has replaced gear, minimizing my footprint, making me work faster and more efficient. And I think that's excellent. My favorite part about all of these, well, my second favorite thing, the first one is the image quality. The second favorite thing I have is the built-in battery, which means I don't have to pull power. That itself is electric. It's powerful. Guys, I'm Rob. I hope you have enjoyed the review of the Tail Air, the Tail 2, Talent, mostly a real quick look at this beautiful new device, one that I'm happy to have in my collection. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get one, use the links down below. And don't forget, ask a question, I'll answer it. Bye for now.